ever seen that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once?
Yes.
That's what a dean is. I can't tell you how many people told me that we weren't going to be able to do it. It was hard,
Yeah.
and it took a lot of effort. But when people saw that we could actually accomplish something that big, it created a new level of motivation in college. AI is an innovation that is going to fundamentally change how we do education, how we support students, how information is served to students, how students are assessed. Our work will be poised not only on creating the next generation of workforce, but also creating the next generation workforce that is able to move forward with changing and fixing the system.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Education Matters. If you would like to learn more about how you can support the College of Education, either through your engagement or perhaps even through your own personal philanthropy, please reach out to me at stw2@psu.edu. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much. So, Dean Lawless, is it okay if I call you Kim?
Absolutely.
Great. So, to kick us off, who or what inspired you to become an educator in the first place?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I originally wanted to be a pediatrician my entire life. Wanted to help kids have a medical practice. And then I took organic chemistry. My sophomore year in 8 o'clock class, folks who are doing scheduling never schedule a core class at 8 a.m. So my mind got changed a little bit, but I still wanted to help kids. And my junior year in college, I took a learning theories class. I was just moved to be a psych major. I took a learning theories class and I said, wow, I can help kids in schools.
Yeah.
I can help them learn. And that is what started me on a journey in education. From there, graduated my undergraduate degree and went on directly to a doctoral degree in educational psychology. And that all led to where I am today.
So there was a point at which, because once you decide, okay, education gets me excited, I want to help kids. Yeah. What was the point at which you decided, oh, I'm not sure if I want my career to be standing in front, say, of a K through 12 classroom? What was the point at which you decided academia was going to be the path for you?
It literally was that learning theories class.
Wow.
I was fascinated that you could get inside someone's brain and figure out how to package information, to retrieve information, and really help people think about the connections of what you're trying to teach them to the world around them. And what I really found out was there are multiple ways to help kids. There are multiple ways that helping kids helps communities, and helping communities helps society. And I just absolutely fell in love with thinking about how I can take instruction and organize it in a way that makes sense to people, even on very complex topics. So breaking down those complex things into little parts and figuring out what needs to be visual, what can be communicated in sound, or what needs to be in text, or any combination thereof. It was like constantly solving and building a puzzle that you didn't really know what the picture of that puzzle looked like on the top of the box.
So to the point that no two learners, I was going to say kids, but really, kids, adults, no two learners are alike. So what you're saying is there's actually a way to, and I'm saying this facetiously, but obviously there's a way to actually teach people to be educators and to adapt to the needs of those particular learners.
Yeah. And not just to be educators, but to think about all of the different relational occupations around being an educator, right? So we have instructional designers who build curriculum. We have educational psychologists that study how students learn and think, and how we know what it is that they've learned, or how we assess what they've learned. We have leadership and organizational development that talk about the systems level of how you put components of an educational environment, whether it's in a corporate setting or in a K-12 setting, together in a way that it is functional and efficient and supports the people within that environment. I think the fact that education is all about systems level approaches to solving problems is the thing that drew me in. People think that education's simple, right? You train a teacher, you put a teacher up in front of kids, all of a sudden magically kids can
Right.
read and do mathematics.
Yeah.
But it's really a system. You have to have the right setting and the right teacher using the right pedagogy and the right content at the right time, and different interventions coming and going to try and figure out what that student is doing, all led by a principal and a superintendent with community infused information coming in about what's important in their context.
Ideally.
Ideally. Yeah.
Yeah. So your path took you, to a couple institutions before Penn State, and now we're so fortunate to have you as the dean of the College of Education. What, for those who maybe have not spent their lifetime in academia or studying, the organization of higher ed institutions, what function does a dean serve in a college, and what drew you to that challenge in general, and what made the College of Education at Penn State such an attractive opportunity for you?
Have you ever seen that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once?
Yes.
That's what a dean is,
Mhm.
right? So I am everything, everywhere to everyone that comes in some form of contact to the College of Education. So, I function as an academic leader within the college, kind of overseeing programs and helping faculty think about changes or new programs to meet the needs of the growing workforce. I develop professionals. So once a faculty member comes, they're not done learning, right? They need to continue to learn. So creating an environment to help them learn. I work with alumni, making sure that we stay in contact with them and they know that we're still connected
Yeah.
through Penn State, and we are still, there to support them as they move through their career, whether it's they need some professional development, they need an additional degree, or they need a community and a network where they have the opportunity to kind of collaboratively learn with other people that have had similar experiences to them. I also serve as a conduit between the College of Education and the greater university.
Yeah.
So I sit on a number of different committees and councils where all of the deans or all of the academic leaders kind of come together to think about what it is that we need to do at Penn State to really continue to be on the cutting edge as a university, making sure that we prepare in the highest quality and manner possible the new students that are coming into us.
I can vouch for that. For those of you listening at home, I mean, we have a passionate advocate for not just the college, but for education writ large in you in this seat. So
I try to be.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So to that end, actually, you've coined the motto for the college, changing education by educating for change. What does that mean to you anyway, exactly?
Yeah. To me, it means that if we take a look at the education system, each and every one of us can see that there are a few issues with the education system, whether it's unequal distribution of resources from different districts or different states, or different outcomes based on the school or the community in which that school is situated for the students that are engaged with that district. Or even, different college going rates or college graduation rates. All of those things point to the fact that we don't have it right yet.
Yeah.
And the preparation of future educators, future education workforce, big tent when I say that. That's teachers, it's school counselors, it's people that work in a corporate training environment, right? The education workforce. The training of those individuals is a part of that overall, coming back to systems, the overall system that has these broken and faulty components in it. So what we have done here and what the motto changing education by educating for change means is that we've taken some ownership of our role in why the education system isn't functioning as well as it should, or at least not functioning as well as it should for every student.
Right.
And within that, we are making a promise that our work will be poised not only on creating the next generation of workforce, but also creating the next generation workforce that is able to move forward with changing and fixing the system. in my lifetime, or in my career, I should say. It hopefully will happen in my lifetime,
Yeah.
so that my grandkids get to benefit from it someday.
Yeah.
But over the course of my career, I probably won't see the changes that are necessary to the education system to really come through in that full promise. So what I can do is educate that workforce that's going out to be those change agents. And that's what we've pledged to do in everything. We talk about the hard topics, we talk about the failures, we talk about the successes, yes. But comparing where we're successful and where we're not successful is how we're going to be able to think about what answers and interventions and changes are going to need to be made.
Yeah. So what's the expression? We're planting trees, the shade of which we may not get to enjoy, but
Exactly.
someone else will.
Exactly.
Yeah. How has that motto transformed? Or you spoke a little bit about how we approach the work we do from curriculum, but also to hiring, to recruiting, to retention. How does that desire to fundamentally change and disrupt those systems inform the way you hire, form the way we recruit students and retain them?
Yeah, if you look at the history of higher education and the discipline of education, kind of within that context, we haven't done a lot of changing over time. So, in the way we prepare a teacher now, sure, there's been some shades of change around some of the content because we've had the technological revolution since I was in college. There was no internet when I was in college.
Right.
Um, but by and large, the way you prepare a teacher today, the mechanics of it, mirror exactly what it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It hasn't changed much at all. So when we're thinking about the work that we're doing here, what we're trying to do is bring in new perspectives, right? It hasn't changed because we've kept the components of the
Mhm.
system the same. The only way to change an outcome is to change in a system, is to change the input to that system. So when we're hiring and when we're recruiting, we're constantly looking for those perspectives and those voices that haven't been a part of the conversation of thinking about what the future of education and the future of the preparation of the education workforce can look like. So we've really thought long and hard about what are the areas that there is a big knowledge base in that we just don't have. And that has really changed how we recruit either faculty or students because we're no longer thinking about, Susie retired. We need a new Susie.
Right.
What we really need is someone who can talk to the things that Susie covered in her courses, but who can bring in new ideas that inspire us and create new connections. That's not only something we need to do because we need to stay contemporary, right? It's also something we need to do to keep the motivation going because novel ideas and new people coming into the system are one of the things that propel innovation forward. We do the same thing when we're talking about students.
Yeah.
So if we have the same students coming from the same places with the same experiences and upbringing that we have always had, we're going to get the same outcomes. So we've intentionally looked in different places and worked really hard to make connections to a whole variety of schools in order to bring in people that have different life experiences, have experienced education from a different point of view. Because when they come in and that conversation is brought into our class, there's the opportunity for people to grow outside what they've always known and divine what can be new.
So I'm going off script now because I love what you just said. Because so the decision not to do the same things over and over again and expect something to change. So we go out and we recruit and we hire faculty, students. What responsibility then do you, and by extension, what responsibility does the university have to make sure that those faculty, those new students are supported and set up for success here at Penn State?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I actually think Penn State does a pretty good job of supporting students and supporting faculty. But we've taken what the university has done, and we've kind of amplified it a bit in this college. So we've created spaces for conversations. So if there are researchers who are coming at a similar problem from different perspectives, we create a space and some resources and some supports for them to come together and have a conversation, to be able to think about how their work dovetails with one another.
Complements
Yeah,
one another. Yeah.
and can really bring forth something that neither of those faculty members would have been able to divine on their own. We try to do the same thing with our classes.
Mhm.
So one of the things we do here in our first year experience courses is we really target building skills and understanding for having conversations around difficult or controversial topics. That's not done everywhere at the university, but we view part of our role as building people's skills who intersect with education, because they're going to go out into other spaces.
Yeah.
And in order to move forward, we need significantly much more listening, civil conversation, understanding, empathy, perspective taking. And so that's an example of what we try to do to increase the amount of support that's out there. There are a few other things that the College of Education does a little bit differently that, again, plays into supporting not just our students and our faculty, but also outside of our college. So one thing that comes to mind is the Journey Success Center, which is a center that's around academic success and supporting students, but it takes a different perspective on it.
How so?
Well, as a college of education, we have lots of disciplines that really understand deeply what it is that students need in order to be successful, right? So clearly, we do teacher preparation, at the early grades all the way through working with individuals in career and technical and post-secondary settings. So we have some academic chops. We know how to help people learn content, right? Learn behaviors. But we also have things like mental health counseling and special education, right? So if a student is experiencing anxiety or stress, we have expertise in the college to help them. If someone is experiencing or struggling with learning in a particular way, maybe it takes them a long time to read, we have people that can build strategies in our special education department to help those students be more successful.
When the problem isn't the content, it's actually the approach to learning or time management,
correct.
or you name it.
Correct. Right. And universities have resources to help all of these things for students, right? We have a Center for Psychological Services. We have an accommodations unit for individuals who have diagnosed learning challenges. We have academic tutoring centers. But if you look at the campus plan, right, those are traditionally in very separate places on campus, have very little coordination among them, and don't take a holistic approach. So long story short, the Journey Success Center builds all of our expertise across those areas and a few others to bring to bear on a student all in one place.
Wow.
So we can create kind of like a concierge service, getting the students what they need when they need it. And that's really important because these things intermingle with one another, right? You don't have struggles academically and not have stress or anxiety associated with that. You don't have stress and anxiety emanating from academic issues that likely aren't related to some difference in learning or learning challenge, whether you've been diagnosed or not, right? So we treat them concomitantly, work with students through a peer coaching model. And that makes us different because we have those different disciplines in and the different expertise to help support students. And it's not just our students that we service, right? We work with all of the different campus level units that address these things. And we work on a referral service, right? So we work with students from all over.
Wow. I think you've just queued up a future episode here. Can we get Kevin Hulbert on the line? So here's a softball one for you, but talk about what has been one of the most rewarding moments for you as a dean.
Oh gosh, they're all rewarding in some way or another, right? I tend to take a Pollyanna view, right? So even when something is hard and difficult, at the end of that, you're going to learn something, right? And that's going to help you out with the next issue that you're facing, either to be more proactive about it or to think about a different solution space for addressing it much more quickly. But probably one of the most rewarding things that I've done is we have worked really, really hard to bring in different voices into the college, particularly at the faculty level, right?
Mhm.
Because if you want to have students coming from a whole variety of different areas and different backgrounds with different experiences, you have to have people that they can relate to when they come here. So we did a massive hire my third year
Mhm.
where we hired 13 faculty in 1 year, and they were treated as an overall cohort. So we
Right.
weren't looking at individual um, faculty members filling an individual position. We were looking at a number of faculty across the college, different disciplines that were right for that discipline, but were also right for working together as a team. I can't tell you how many people told me that we weren't going to be able to do it. Even people inside the college, you're never going to be able to accomplish that.
That
The
sheer
building,
number,
building,
or, oh, I see, or
buil-
actually,
building that cohort, bringing everybody in, filling every position.
right.
When we filled all of those positions and people saw that we could do really hard things that had a direct impact on the experience that our students were going to have, on the ability and content and complexity of the research that we do, that created more opportunities for outreach into schools. It was hard.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of effort. But when people saw that we could actually accomplish something that big, it created a new level of motivation in the college, and people got excited, and that excitement rolled into new initiatives. And suddenly the hard things became a little bit easier every time we attempted one.
Right, because you eliminate that, perhaps that sense of doubt that this just isn't possible. Once you create a culture of possibility, people, I think, tend to lean into that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
So you've talked about, what you've achieved or observed or accomplished so far. What is your ultimate dream as a dean? What do you hope your legacy is, perhaps?
Boy, that's a tough question. I don't tend to think about legacies because I'm too mired in the day to day,
Right. To
or
get to
the year to
tomorrow.
year.
That's my goal.
Yeah, just to wake up tomorrow.
Hmm.
But I think if I'm lucky enough to have a legacy, right, and I'm not going to presume that I'm going to have one, is that this college will continue to be courageous and bold and dive into the issues that have been so persistent in the education arena and are so necessary for the future of education, with unhindered enthusiasm. We're doing that now. And it's easy to say, well, we're doing it now because we've got this crew in this community and we've developed this culture. Will that last beyond the people that are here now, myself included? But I think we have a good shot at being able to do that because we've become known for a college that pushes the envelope, that challenges the assumptions of what has always been and dares to dream in a kind of a radical imaginary of what could be beyond what has always existed.
Wow. So, shifting gears a little bit, Penn State will officially launch our current campaign. We're in the quiet phase now, but we'll officially launch in April. What are ways that our alumni, along perhaps with other Penn Staters who believe in the power of education and of educators, what are ways that they can support the college, our students, our faculty, our overall mission? What are some of your top priorities for this campaign?
So amongst the top priorities that we have for this campaign, number one is scholarships. I'm a deep believer that any student, especially now in our current context, that wants to be a teacher and applies to the College of Education at Penn State and gets accepted, they should never be faced with the choice of having to say no because of a financial reason. And there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. College is expensive. And some colleges are more expensive than others. But the work that our college does is worth it. And unfortunately, every year we have students whose financial need we can't match.
Right.
Right. So first and foremost, I'm hoping to really grow our scholarship pool. We have scholarships. We're very lucky from that perspective, but the need is still great. For students that come into our college that have to take out loans in order to pay for their experience, they leave on average with about $44,000 in debt. Starting salary in many places in the state of Pennsylvania is about $48,000. So that's an upside down debt to earnings ratio in many respects. So number one, scholarships. The second thing that I think is really important for us is being able to procure some funds that allow us to continue to innovate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Innovation isn't free.
Right.
And every year we're finding money that we can put toward new endeavors to continue that mission of changing education by educating for change. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? There's lots of things that are kind of coming at higher education right now that are having an impact on our budget. One of the things that I have vowed is the excellence of the student experience, the quality of the student experience will never be sacrificed because of budget issues, right? That is first and foremost our mission. But having the ability to have money to do innovation gets harder and harder every year.
Yeah.
So having some discretionary funds that can be put toward that innovation would be incredible. Oh, can I tell you about something we're doing next year?
Absolutely.
That's kind of related to this.
Okay.
So
is this a you've heard it here first situation?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Well, I think there's some faculty and some of the college knows, so it's not a surprise to them. But beyond our college, I think this is probably a pretty new idea. So we had some retirements in the past year. And again, as I've said, we don't just replace the faculty member that leaves, right? We try to innovate and bring in new perspectives. So next year, I just announced to the college that we are going to be doing a cluster hire in AI.
Wow.
Which is huge. So we're going to be hiring 4 faculty, 1 for each of our departments that have expertise in their disciplinary area, obviously, but also with AI and how that impacts education. And the reason why we're doing this is it's become really clear that either we can be the ones to harness artificial intelligence and build the interventions and build the products that push education forward with the moral, ethical outlook that we have built into the work that we do here in the College of Education, or we can succumb to be used by it,
right,
or impacted by it. It's super exciting to think about bringing in a group of people that can be the architects of that change of how AI is going to fundamentally alter how we think about education. So it's being able to continue with thinking about how we bring in money to support those endeavors, right? For those that don't know, running AI, building AI, using large data models, using large data sets, learning analytics, that all costs computer time, right? And that computer time costs money. And so we have faculty who are getting grants. We're using some of our general funds to support that innovation, but being able to continue that forward through research dollars, discretionary dollars is really important.
We talk about, some of the opportunities that exist for folks to have a philanthropic impact on the college. What would you say to the donors who have already empowered your work and your mission through their generosity, or to listeners who are considering becoming philanthropic partners with the College of Education?
The first thing I would say to either group is thank you.
Yeah.
The second thing I would say is,
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
No, but the second thing I would say is come visit us.
Hmm.
See what it is we're doing. If you've given money, come visit us and see how your money's being used.
Yeah.
See the students that you've provided scholarships to. Have a conversation with them. See the environments and the work of the instructors with those students to really understand the experience that they're getting. If you haven't given and you don't know much about us, you haven't been here in a while, or you've never been here, let's have a conversation. Let me show you things that will make your jaw drop, that we're able to work with students to learn to be able to take out into their careers in the classroom or in the corporate environment or in a clinic. I think to any of them, whether they've already donors, whether they've already given money or whether they're thinking about giving money, the best way to understand how that money can really have an impact is to see it in person.
Yeah. And two, to understand that, any conversation that we have is going to be a conversation, and it's actually going to be led by you, and led with the initial question, what do you want to accomplish?
You
Alumnus
meaning the
or
donor.
friend, yes, alumnus, friend of the college, that would be meaningful to you because,
Yeah.
there's any number of opportunities, be it student support, faculty, programmatic support. We can probably find a way to link your objective back to the college in a really meaningful way.
And I've talked a lot about bringing in new voices, right? To help us think in ways that we haven't thought, to get us outside of that box of what we've experienced. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with individuals who were interested in providing funds for a scholarship or providing funds for student supports or even providing funds for research. How many conversations I've had with donors that have changed the way I think, that have opened up an opportunity that I had never thought of, whether it's how a scholarship is funded or what can be done with some seed money to help a germinating idea blossom and grow. It is a very special privilege that I get to be able to sit down with people who are passionate about education, who are passionate about Penn State or the College of Education, and who have the desire or even the funds to be philanthropic. There's nothing not to like in that conversation.
Yeah. It's humbling.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And the perspectives that donors bring in really help me and help others in the college see things from a different way.
Yeah.
To get to that place where we're able to accomplish something that we had never even thought of, yet alone try.
So, what excites you about the future of education and the College of Education's role in that future?
Oh, gosh. What excites me the most about it is that it's entirely unknown. I talked about AI and doing a cluster hire of faculty in AI. AI is an innovation that is going to fundamentally change how we do education.
Yeah.
It's not going to replace teachers,
No.
right? Because teachers have the need to have a human connection, right? And have a read of more things than you can type into text. But it is going to change how we support students, how information is served to students, how students are assessed, so that teachers have the ability to really focus on those things that only teachers are capable of doing.
Yeah.
So AI is an innovation like the internet, an innovation like the Gutenberg printing press.
Right.
And being here at this moment, not having any idea what the future of education is going to look like is incredibly exciting.
Thrilling. Right.
Scary as well. But having the opportunity to lead this college, to be a key player in developing what that future is going to look like.
Right.
Wow. I wake up every day excited to come into work simply for that reason.
So before I ask my last question, just first of all, thank you so much for being the
been fun.
inaugural guest on
super
Education Matters, a title that I think it bears mentioning you came up with. I think it's a good title.
Mhm.
Thank you. If you could thank one of your K through 12 educators,
Yeah.
who would it be and why? What might you say to that person?
Gosh, I think I would thank my 8th grade history teacher.
Really?
Yeah, which
Why?
is interesting because I never even took a history class in college. It
Okay.
wasn't the discipline that inspired me. What inspired me about this teacher, she really believed in me. And, you know, oftentimes when you go through school systems, when you go to school, you don't necessarily feel as though you fit, especially when you're in middle school.
I was going to say
Right.
8th grade.
And you operate sometimes out of a very protective place, right? You're not bold. You don't.
Self-protected.
Yeah,
Right.
self-protected. You're not bold. You don't take lots of chances because lots of chances get eyeballs on you, and eyeballs on you can go a multitude of
And
ways.
this is pre-social media. Imagine what that's like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she really believed in me and inspired me and then pushed me so that when I got to college, when I got to high school, I wasn't so scared to take chances, right? So I kind of went after things with a gusto and a zeal, I'm going to do this. If I don't get it, I'll move on to the next thing, and we'll figure out how I get what I want, get what I'm trying to accomplish in like a rerun fashion, right? We'll do a hot wash. We'll figure out what worked, what didn't work, and we'll move on. That skill of resiliency, courage and resiliency is really what I think led me to be a dean, led me to this moment in time. And important as I sit here and reflect on the previous part of our conversation, that is not something AI will ever be able to do.
Yeah.
Right? That is something that only a human teacher, working with, talking with, engaging, providing opportunities for students to experience new things and learn about themselves and what they're able to accomplish can do.
And it strikes me that, as you mentioned, it had little to do with the content of the course that this person was teaching, but it was all about the support, the recognition, the encouragement, the sort of I see what you're capable of doing and pushing you to achieve that was infinitely more impactful for you than being able to.
Absolutely. And I want every kid to be able to have a Vicki Hebler, my teacher in 8th grade, in their lives.
That's fantastic. Anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we go? A piece of advice, a story, a well wish?
Yeah. There's a lot going on in the world right now, right? A lot going on around education, K-12 through higher education. I think my piece of advice would be to keep your eye on the prize, right? Which is supporting the next generation of citizens of this country and of the world in growing to be smart, intelligent, innovative, kind, caring human beings that are capable of making sure we can maintain that environment for decades and generations to come.
Yeah. What a perfect sentiment on which to end. Kim, thank you. Not only for this, but for everything you do for the College of Education.
My pleasure, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Great.